Hello, Claudio. Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankara Sharamajamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Moti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om. I have seen Elizabeth here. She joined us today somewhere. She's not appearing here, but she's in there. So we are back with our Panchadasi. Last Monday we looked into the closing teachings on the second chapter, which was about the liberated person. We did a lot of discrimination in the previous.
Enjoy. You're welcome.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, Alindo and everyone. It took a little bit of hassle, but finally got connected.
Oh, we're glad you did.
Yes, I do too.
Okay. So we are closing on the second chapter. We saw last week the notes about the yani, the liberated person, the way they experience themselves and the world, and so on. We always have those passages in our text so that we can see that there are people testifying that self-knowledge liberates, self-knowledge transforms the way the individual experiences himself, herself, and the world. The benefits of self-knowledge is presented again and again in the text so that we feel encouraged to pursue self-knowledge. That is the point. So it says that the liberated person is not affected by delusion as much as the samsari, of course. And when the body dies, regardless of the way it dies, it's in pleasure or in agony, in meditation or unconsciously, the liberated person remains liberated because self-knowledge is a knowledge that is never taken away from the soul, from the Jivatma. It's held by the Jivatma and prevents the Jivatma of having to come back again on another round of samsara. And then we had the analogy of the name of the person in the waking state is lost in deep sleep. But once the person wakes up again, that knowledge in respect to its name is immediately recovered, okay? So similarly, self-knowledge is never forgotten, okay? So self-knowledge is there at all times, so you can go through the three states, you wake up after the deep sleep and the dream state, and then self-knowledge is always available. That's what it means, a hard and fast, always available knowledge, which is not subject to forgetfulness. And that took us to the last verse and to the summary of the fruit of discrimination. The world, we are in the page 95, Elizabeth, in case.
I don't know. Okay.
Thanks.
Page 91 in the book.
Okay, I think Elizabeth does not have the book today, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I have no book. Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll be okay. Can you hear me if I speak?
Huh?
Can you hear me when I speak?
Yes, very well, very clearly.
Oh, good, because I don't see anything here. Okay, this is all different. This is the first time I use the computer.
Okay, you don't see us?
Yes, I do see. Yes, everything is fine. Sorry.
Summary of the fruit of discrimination. So we do our discrimination because we want the fruits of these efforts. So we are spending time and energy trying to understand and discriminate our true free nature from the mind and the body and the experience that conditions the body mind. So we are trying to discriminate. And we don't do that just for the sake of sporting. we do this because we want to reap the fruits, the results. Now we're gonna see the summary of the fruits of our discriminating efforts. The word has 4 features. Experience is one feature, one aspect of the word. Experience. For experience to take place, we need the experiencing entity, the Jivatma, and Jagata, and then there is experience. So the experience is possible due to Dvaita, which is divisions, dualities. So there are a plurality of different objects that can be experienced. And everything has properties and attributes and functions. So all of that is available to us. The world of the fundamental duality, subject, object, and then a division, a plurality of objects and everything designed according to its functions, its qualities, properties, and attributes. Are you okay, Elizabeth?
Yeah, this is okay. Technology. I can't get rid of this. Okay, I'm fine.
Okay. So we have this, it was presented as 4 features. The word, it has division, the experience, attributes, every object, every configuration is defined by its attributes, and it has a status. The world has a status. And the status, as we know, it can be of 2 kinds. It is real or apparently real. It is absolutely real or it is relatively real. So after we do our discrimination, we succeed in doing this discrimination. And again, we are doing this discrimination not for a play, for a killing time, but we are doing that because we want somehow to undo this mix-up, this confusion, and we want to, individuate and how you say, and we want to separate, not that they are really mixed together. We want to discriminate the self from everything that is experienced within the self for the sake of isolating the self so that we can understand and claim our identity as the self. So this discrimination needs to be there because of this mix-up, this blend between the self and the not self, which is the cause of samsara, the cause of suffering. So after we have done this discrimination successfully, there will be no change in those 3 aspects of the world, the 3 features. Experience is going to remain there. Divisions and pluralities of objects will be there, and everything is going to be defined by its functions and attributes. So nothing changed, but something fundamentally changed. And what changed fundamentally is going to also change the way Jivatma is going to experience this world as well. Because what changed is the vision, the understanding that the world is not absolutely real, okay? The world is just that which we call an appearance in consciousness, a superimposition in consciousness, which is changing from moment to moment, again and again, like pictures, moving pictures on the screen of the cinema hall. So that's the only change. Before the discrimination, the world was having a status of reality, and now it's known as an apparently real world. Okay, this change is a change in status, and this is what it means: freedom. So, what kind of freedom is this? Because the word is there, the division or diversity of configurations are there. The experience between the experiencer and the objects are going to continue there, and all different functions and properties are going to be playing according to their configuration. So what is there really changing? So it's seen to be real, and then we believe that it belongs to the same order as I, the self, and then I take the world to be real, and I believe that the world is a source of fulfillment, of purna, of satisfaction, okay, a completion. And then I'm caught up in the wrong place, in the wrong time, trying to do an impossible job, which is to find completion in something, from something that is not really real. So what is the change here when we see that the world is not really real, is that we stop going to get what we want out there in the world as a means to resolve ourselves. And then what happens to our mind? Oh, it's not really real. I, the light of the illuminator, I am the only reality, and everything is happening within the scope of my conscious existence. Therefore, nothing to be concerned. I'm not going to be trying to solve myself, to resolve my mind, to find peace and satisfaction in the world of object, because now I understood they are just like mirage. They are just like projections on the screen of my conscious existence. And then the individual understood this clearly, and then he's no longer fooled or deceived by Maya and Maya's projections. Maya's projections compels the jiva who did not understand the unreal or apparently real nature of the world. It compels them, the samsaras, to run, to get, to gain, to maintain, or to avoid, or to push away. And that run makes the mind individual all the time like that, and the individual remains more and more entangled in the world, entangled in samsara, okay? So now the world is seen to be unreal or apparently real, and this is synonymous of freedom, moksha. I'm free because now I see that I am the only source of true peace, security, and satisfaction. Therefore, my mind is at peace because I stopped running, okay, to try to complete myself. And now I understood that I am already whole, full, and complete. So the mind relaxes, and the individual experiences peace, satisfaction, and then it's free. It's no longer hooked and entangled with this game of running in the in the world. How does this freedom? How does this start? This change is moksha. How does this change give freedom? Let's see here. The appearance does not affect the real. So when I see that the world is just part of another reality, which is not the same as my ordinary reality, because I am Satya, and this is Mithya. Mithya is that which, although is existent, it's not really real. So when we are living in this ordinary reality, knowing that reality is what I am, and appearance is what is there in the world. And then I know that those two orders, they don't affect one another. They don't contradict one another. In fact, Satya is going to pervade Mithya. Myself as conscious existence, I'm going to pervade, I'm going to illumine and reveal this appearing order without ever being affected by anything. So one feels free as opposed to bound to objects, because before we are seeing the object as in the same order of reality. I am real, the world is real, and I need to find a solution within this interaction between I, the self, and the object. Now I see, and it's impossible, and very soon the individual finds this frustration to see that, oh my God, I can't find peace and satisfaction because this world does not deliver what it seems to offer, you understand? And all the time I think that I have got my peace and satisfaction, it disappears again because things change. Not to say that the Jiva Atma, identified as the body-mind complex, also change. And once desires change as well, what was giving temporary satisfaction for a little bit, and then you say, I'm annoyed with this one, let me get something else. And the mind is all the time disturbed. So it gives freedom because you see what is Mithya, you see what is Satya, you have isolate Satya and then claim your identity in Satya as Satya. You see the world, you know that the world will never really affect your true nature, your true self. Your true self is free and independent of everything which is appearing within ourselves, consciousness, okay? So appears, it disappears, change, and never really affecting the light of the illuminator. The same way nothing affects space. Space is going to accommodate everything in the world without ever being affected by its object. Light is never going to be affected by which it reveals, illumines and reveals, because they are two orders, okay? They are two orders. So one does not affect the other. So I am free because I understood that the world cannot touch me. Nothing can in the world, of the world, can really affect me. One gets to live free while alive in the body or incarnated in the body. And the person, the one, is also free of rebirth. So howsoever we want to understand rebirth, rebirth is understood traditionally as a cycle of birth, life, and death, and rebirth. So that's what rebirth is. Again and again, we get a new body so that we can complete our running. We are trying to find completion. We have unfinished business and so on. Desires and aversion, looking for completion. And that way we end the second chapter of the Panchadasi, and we begin now the third chapter, which is going to take us to the discrimination of the 5 sheaths. So 5 sheaths is something that is more, I believe it's more, most of us are more familiar to it. We have seen it here and there in some of these courses of seminars of Ramji. And we see in our Sampradaya as well, it's a very common teaching. So this chapter is an analysis of a statement about existence consciousness in the Brahmananda Valli of the Taittiriya Upanishad. It emphasizes, it analyzes 5 features of consciousness existence. So the 5 features of consciousness, which is slightly different from the 5 kosas itself. It's going to analyze the 5 features, and then we're going to look into the 5 kosas, okay? The 5 features of consciousness and one here is presented as it resides in all 5 kosas. Okay, kosas and sheaths are the same thing, and I think you all know. So the 5 features of existence consciousness, it resides in all 5 kosas, not just the subtle body. Okay, so existence consciousness exists through all the 5 sheaths. Okay, so the causal body to the food body, okay, and Nandamaya kosha to the food body kosha. So conscious existence is there, pervading, okay, residing. Now, residing is a little bit misleading as a word. It's somehow, it permeates and pervades and enlivens all the 5 koshas, all the 5 sheaths. And we believe that it does so in the, not just in the subtle body. No, it does that in all 5 koshas, not only the subtle body, in which we see 3 koshas there. The prana kosha, and then the mind kosha, and the intellect kosha. So we say, yes, it's there residing or pervading the subtle body. No, it pervades the physical body as well, and pervades the causal body as well. It is not actually covered. So we hear that somehow, due to some process, the self appears to be covered by the 5 koshas. Okay, the 5 koshas is 5 levels from the denser, the food body, until the causal body, the most subtle. It seems that the self is hidden, within each one of these covers, each one of these pockets, sheets, as if the self is covered. So, but here it says it's not actually covered. Okay, it appears to be covered due to a certain condition, mental condition, which is often known as avidya, or ignorance. And its most important feature is it is always available as the I thought, as I myself. So this conscious existence has one feature, which is a sort of advertisement. It advertises itself in all intelligent living organisms, such as the human beings. It advertises itself as the I thought. Wherever there is a jiva, a human jiva, there is this I thought. And this I thought is the most important feature of existence consciousness manifests in the world, because it's always available. It is not covered, and furthermore, it is always advertised itself every time, every moment we say the word I, myself, okay? The fourth feature here is that this existence consciousness is limitless, and it is existence and it is consciousness. Okay, so it is existence, it is consciousness, and it is of a limitless nature, which takes us of the 5th feature, which is its nature is bliss. Okay, it's bliss. It's Satchit Ananda, bliss. Ananda goes to the limitless or non-dual nature of conscious existence. Okay, so we move to the verse 1. It says that it's possible to know consciousness, which is apparently hidden by the 5 sheaths, by differentiating consciousness from the sheaths. Consider now the 5 sheaths. Within the physical sheaths, which is the body, which is the food sheaths, the physical. Within the physical sheaths, we find the vital sheaths. Within the vital sheaths, we find the mental sheaths. within the mental sheaths, we find the intellect sheath or the agent sheath. And within the bliss and within the agent sheath or the intellect sheath, we find the bliss sheath or the enjoyer sheath. This succession of one within another apparently covers the self. So what it means? It means that within the physical body, as we know, there is a subtler principle which is other than the body, which is the pranamaya. So the vital, intelligent air is going to be there, yeah, pervading the physical body, and vivifying and sustaining the physical body. Within the physical body, we find the vital, the pranamaya kosha, managing the physical body. And then now we have this vital sheaths, the pranamaya. Within the pranamaya, meaning to say sattva than the pranamaya, meaning to say as the cause of the pranamaya, okay, we find the mind, okay? We find the mental sheaths. We see the mental sheath subtler than the mental. We find the intellect sheaths, okay? So the intellect sheath is subtler and pervades and is the cause of the mental, emotional sheaths, okay? And which is said to be the agent sheath. And within the agent sheaths, we find the bliss sheaths, okay? The causal body, the Anandamaya sheaths, which is said to be also the enjoyer sheaths, okay? The agent and the enjoyer sheaths. This succession is like it's like an onion in which one layer seems to cover the other, okay? But it's different than an onion because it's everything is going to be pervading one another, okay? So from the top down, everything is going to be pervading. And then when we have the physical body is containing all these 5 sheaths because everything is boring, it is landing, it is principles, okay? We know that everything begins from the most subtle to the most dense, so from the causal body, and then the intellectual body, the mental, emotional, and then the prana, and then the physical body. It's a process it's a certain process in which there is a grossification of energy, and the subtle energies are pervading the others, the more dense as it grossifies, divides and combines and grossifies, until we have the food body or the physical sheaths, okay? So just as the layers of an onion conceals its innermost core, the sheaths appear to conceal the self, but it does not really. The word within means subtler than, or the cause of. Vedanta is like a flashlight that illumines the darkness of the 5 sheaths. So Vedanta is a teaching. Yeah? It's a very nice analogy, this one. We hear about Vedanta as a mirror composed by words and concepts that are going to mirror back to the inquirer, to the seeker. It's true self, it's true I, yeah? It's true identity. Yeah? So, and here it says that Vedanta is like a flashlight, yeah? That can go through the 5 layers, which appear. The physical body seems to be the one in which the self is the most hidden, okay? Yet we can go with a flashlight, which are the teachings of Vedanta, and then shed the light into the physical body, and then start seeing the subtler levels or what is behind this physical body until we go all the way to the self, to the most subtle, because everything is contained in the physical body. Everything is contained in the most dense, okay? So Vedanta is like a flashlight that illumines the darkness quote unquote, of these 5 layers, okay, of the Jivatma. Anything from you guys? The body, which is produced from the seed and sperm of the parents, which are in turn formed out of food eaten by them, grows by food and food alone. It is not the self, for it does not exist either before birth or after death. So now this verse takes an argument about the fact that the physical body, which is later on clearly described as the food body, it takes an argument in which the physical body cannot be real, okay, because the body was not there before the birth and it's not there after birth, okay? So it is an interesting approach, but anyone could say, okay, but who told you that the self, that I claim the self to have to be there before and after? The self is just a temporary phenomenon, So one could look for that angle. But for some people, for some inquirers, we can see that the self, this I, is not really a product or property of the physical body. And we know already, because we are experts in Vedanta, we know that this I was there before in previous births, and it's probably coming back unless we are tired of this world of experience, okay? Until we say, no more, thank you. So we know that the self cannot be the body because I was there before this birth. I will be there after this birth. How you know? I know because somehow I looked into the scriptures, I followed the logic, and I found it impeccable, the karmic laws and so on, all the arguments. And now I have to accept that I will be there, okay, with another body. Therefore, this physical body cannot be the I, because otherwise, I would be there as a different I, and I is only one. And strangely enough, every one of us here refers to the self as I. And how can we have a discussion here? Which one of our bodies is the true I? Now we have 6 physical bodies here, and every one of them refers to itself as I, myself. So which one of this body is the real I, myself? Okay, so definitely it's not the body. It's not the body. The body was there, was not there before, will not be there in the future as well. And here, the author starts to present the concept that the body was produced by the seed and the sperm of our parents. So parents, somehow they got horny, they want to have a good time, and somehow we had to pay for it. So we were born. And then, so I was formed, and I need immediate to hook up to mommy, because I need to have milk. I need food, because I am this I, identified with the body, is I identified with food. So immediately I need to get food from my mom. And then my mom as well, before she had a good time with my father, she had to grow, and she needed food as well, because her body was food. So 2 food bodies produce another food body, and if people would starve for no food available, so, and then my mom and my dad and myself, as bodies would not be present. So we are reducing this self to food, to things that we find in the supermarket. So it cannot be the self, okay? As we're gonna further understand here with different logics, of course. I don't want to jump the gun here. For most people, the body is not just a passing experience, okay? It's not just a set of clothing that I wear today and I won't wear tomorrow. No, for most people, the body is the self. No? It is the self. So it is the most dense aspect or feature, of this mistaken identification of the self with these sheets, the most dense sheet, which is the physical body. And most people are totally identified with the physical body. So they don't see the body objectively as just an instrument, a physical instrument of experience, okay? They don't see it. By the way. So they don't see the body objectively as a physical instrument. Okay, some say, gee, the body is a temple. No, the body is a temple is an exaggeration. The body is beautifully, intelligently designed and is an instrument by which we can contact the other objects. You understand? And that's great. And without the physical body, we cannot exercise our function as an experiencing knowing agent. So we need the body. So the body is a beautiful instrument. It's absolutely necessary. We can even come to the extent to say it's the beautiful temple of God. Yes, it was created by God, is sustained by God, and it is operated by the Jiva Atma. So the Jiva Atma uses the physical body, knowing that this physical body is bound by time as an instrument, as something that dies, grows, get old, and die. Where am I? For most people, the body is not a set of clothes, it's the self, but it's only the result of eating food. We need to see it really clearly that if we stop shopping in the supermarket, the body goes. The body is food. That's why, in this Upanishad, it is present as the food body. Understand? So either we rely on the supermarket or we start doing like Mark, learn to grow your food. Okay, because if we don't have food, we don't have the I body, the food body goes. Yeah? So it's totally linked together with food. Food is not a conscious principle, so it cannot shape itself into the body. So what is this body? If the body can be reduced to the food we eat, and if the food is inert and it's not self-conscious, so it does not have the intelligence to grow and to make the body conscious to the point that the body says, I, myself. So this I, myself cannot be a function of this physical body, okay? Because the physical body is inert, and I, myself, I am a conscious entity, okay? It enters the bodies of the parents. Food is not conscious. It cannot shape itself into the body. It enters the bodies of the parents, is converted into sperm and eggs, which become the body. So the body of a newborn babe, the energy from this process comes from the food also. The food is filled with energy, vital energy. Food is an indirect process of the body. When the fetus is in the womb, and the direct cause after birth. So food is indirect cause of the body. As long as the fetus is in the womb, the food goes to the mom first, and then from the mom it comes to the fetus. And then once the fetus comes as a newborn babe, and then the food is the direct cause of the newborn babe, without which the baby is dead. The self, the body self is dead. So food is not the self. How can't you say that why can't you say that you are the body? Because the body is impermanent. I think there is a mistake there. It's not the self. Why can't you say that you are the body? Okay, now I got it. Why you cannot say, why we affirm that you cannot say that you are the body? Because the body is impermanent. So there are different reasons why we clearly see that we are not the body, because the body is made out of food. Food is inert, and the body then is inert matter or inert food. And then we see, I cannot see that because I am a conscious entity and the body is inert, okay? And then we say here that also the body is impermanent. It's changing and it's going to go, okay? Because everything that's born go. So then I say that the body is in a process of constant change, and it is impermanent and bound by time. And somehow we began this verse saying that the self is a permanent entity or principle that was there before this birth, and it's going to be there in the next birth, as we said. The self is permanent. But most obviously, when we say that I cannot see the body, so we could say that from first and most, obviously, is that I cannot see. I cannot be what I see. I cannot be what I know. I cannot be what I experience. Okay? I, myself, cannot be that which I perceive, which I witness. You understand? Because I cannot be what I see and the seer at the same time and the seen. Okay? So I have to make this distinction to isolate myself from these objects with which I got mixed up, entangled, and confused and defined by. So we need to see that I can never see the object that I perceive. The subject can never be the object. That's the most fundamental and simple logic to discard the physical body. And the physical body is definitely bound by time, which is different from the subtle body. The mind, as we know, although it is impermanent and changing from moment to moment, it is not bound by time. So mortality does not have an impact on the subtle body, on the mind. The mind may go through different states, okay, but it remains there, remain suppressed, remain projecting, or remain experiencing the world projected by Maya Ishvara. But the mind is all there, and then when the body goes, the mind is still alive somewhere waiting for the next instrument of experience, the next birth, okay? But the physical body, no, is totally bound by time, and it changes every birth. So, if we would have a memory and that would survive these births and rebirths, and if we used to find ourselves so beautiful, keeping all those pictures of our youths, and then, and then when you find yourself in a new body, and then for some karmic reason, you find yourself in an ugly body, and then you will say, oh my God, where is my old body? No, the body is impermanent, it's changed. We never know what we're going to get in the future, okay? The self exists in previous births, and the body cannot be it. The self is permanent, the body is impermanent. It cannot be the body. From an analysis of experience, it's clear that the body changed by I, myself, consciousness does not change. So we have seen this analysis of experience time and time again. And we know that this I, which is not the mind, which is not the intellect, which is not the emotions, which is not the experience or the pranas, this I, is clearly not changing, whereas all the other 5 koshas are changing on a moment-to-moment basis, okay? This I does not change. We know it pretty well. We have looked into these teachings, these logics again and again. Analysis of experience, we determined that the body changed, the 5 koshas change, but I, myself, consciousness, does not change. It's also not the self. The body is not the self, because the body is an obvious, known object, and I cannot see I cannot be the seer and the seen. I cannot be the object that I perceive. The subject can never be the object. The verse number 4. Anything from you guys? The body which was non-existence in the previous birth cannot produce the karma required for the present birth. And this body, which will be non-existent in the future, cannot work out the karma that is acquired in this birth. Now we have a more sophisticated argument to help us to understand why we are not the physical body. So we know that we came here with a bag of sanchita, karmas, or tendencies or vasanas, howsoever we want to say it. And then we come with our parabada as well, already manifesting as our parents and our culture, environment, our living condition. So we come already with all this set of karmic conditions. And then I say, oh, I the body, I myself, the body. So this body now was not there in the past to produce the parabada karma that I am enjoying now, okay? So it was not there. In this physical body, okay, I'm doing a lot of work. Some people get caught up about that. I'm doing a lot of spiritual work because I want to enjoy punya, spiritual punya. Yeah? But somehow, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time because I am already 90 or 80 or 100, okay? So, and then the scripts are going to say, don't worry, there is nothing that is wasted. Everything we do here, we're going to reap the results, no? The good actions and the bad actions, the good efforts and the bad effort. And then the person say, well, but what is the big deal? It's not going to be my body self there. Because then the body self, the food body self is not going to be there. It's going to be a new bag of food, a new, supermarket bag of food. And say, so now I'm not going to be there, so I'm not going to do this work right now because I'm just, working to produce punya for the next guy in line, the coming after me, because I take myself to be the food body, the physical body. If we take ourselves to be the food body, the physical body, we don't even like to do our spiritual work because but if I don't have enough time to get enlightened, to get moksha and so on, you understand? So this is a firm identification with the physical body that makes the people believe that once this body is gone, the I myself is gone. The I myself continues, incarnation after incarnation, birth after birth. this body, this I myself, this food body was not there in the previous birth. So this body did not produce the Prarabdha karma that I'm enjoying now, okay? At this moment, it was not this body, because from early age, I had already a karmic setting around me that did not come from my interaction. So it cannot be this body, because this body was not there producing this Prarabdha, and this body will not be there to enjoy the results of my agamis, of my actions, of my karmas present to the field. So the body cannot be the I myself. A future non-existent body can never pay the price for the actions the body accumulates in the present birth. So a future non-existent body can never pay the price for the actions that the body accumulates in the present birth. Therefore, there is something else, Jivatma, who was there in the last and who will be there in the future, okay, to birth, who will be there in the next birth as well to reap the results of these actions. So this I myself, the one who is enjoying my past karmas and will enjoy the results of this body, these new agents, karmas, is going to be reaping the results in the next body. Cannot be in the next life, cannot be the physical body. It must be something other than the body. It is the Jivatma. It is consciousness reflect as Jivatma, which is the soul, which goes from birth to birth, okay, and it begins from the karmas, from the previous birth, and then the time stops, and then whatsoever karma is in the system is going to be kept and then reaped in the future from the same self, from the same Jivatma, from the same soul, which is not the body, which proves that this I myself, I am not the body for karmic reasons, okay, karmic logic. The big picture logic behind karma and the body. It very often seems that good people suffer and bad people enjoy. Why is a person suffering? Not always. Why is a person suffering? Not always seemingly appropriate to the nature of one's actions, okay? So we may find people who are doing a lot of good actions, yet it's reaping a lot of bad karma, and we see it does not make sense. The person is good. I know the person already since a couple of years. It's doing a lot of good work, okay, and has good attitude, but still it's reaping a lot of bad karma. So why some people who are doing good actions are still, suffering bad karma? That's the point. And it seems that some good people suffer and some bad people enjoy. How strange. This guy is bad. I have seen, that this guy has bad manners and bad actions and bad attitude and negative emotions. And the guy is still enjoying a lot of good karma. So we need to understand the large picture, the big picture of karma, okay, causality, and this karmic law in respect to the body, okay? So the body may be there enjoying some good karma, but it's not due to the efforts or the actions done by this body, but with another body, but the same soul, okay? The same Jivatma. It's just traveling through a new body, and that explains why some good people appears to be suffering while some bad people appears to be enjoying fruits of punya, You reap the karma from the previous birth. So the first point to be understood that we begin reaping the karma from our previous births. When we come here, we come with our karma, okay, and we could victimize ourselves and say, oh, why I was born in this condition? This is really bad. Huh? I'm born in a poor family, in a terrible, poor nation with wars and violence and poverty. And so why me, you know? So we reap the karma from what we did in our previous births. It's the same soul, the same Jivatma, just appearing as a food body yesterday and another food body today. That's why once we understand that, only then we can walk away from this bad attitude of victimization, okay? I'm saying, oh, poor me, why me? I should not be passing or living such a difficult experience. Why my husband left me, and why my son died, or why this, why that, why I am so ill and sick, and so on, okay? So we always reap what we have, how you say, sown, yeah? And sown, and saw. Help me out there. So, and that comes from the previous verse. Yeah? If you are the body, this answer does not work for you because the body was not there in the previous life, producing the karma that was acquired now, what you received. You understand? So the body was not there. If, however, you are a conscious entity, Jivatma, if you are a soul, a conscious entity, which is something other than the body, okay, you were there doing karmas through the previous body or previous many bodies, okay, because now you are taking the I and you are removing the I myself from the food body and you are attaching it to the subtle body, okay? So you take yourself to be the subtle body, or better said, the Jivatma, this conscious experiencing entity, and now you know that you are doing karmas before, and you are reaping whatsoever karmas, okay? You are reaping the fruits of whatsoever you did before, and in the future, you're gonna be there with a different bag of food, you know, or another food body, reaping the fruits of whatsoever you are doing right now, né? Of all your present karmas. If the body is the cause of karma, we cannot explain why good people suffer and bad people enjoy. So it's clear that it's not the physical body that is responsible for our punya and papa. Our physical body nowadays is an instrument by which we present our karmas, we present our response, okay, and it's important, but it's not entirely responsible for our parabdha karmas. Our parabdha karmas is a huge equation, which involves the other body from the previous birth or the other bodies from previous yet births. So now we are, you know, reaping and enjoying suffering the karmas from the past physical bodies, which means to say, past physical body is not the I myself, this physical body is not I myself, and now I'm determined that I myself am a conscious entity called the Jivatma. Okay, let's leave it there. Later on, we're going to negate the I myself as the subtle body as well, as we know, as those three sheets that presents themselves within the subtle body. Number two here, God or Ishvara is unjust. So this is the first principle here is that we always reap the karma from not only our actions in this life, but previous lives. Now, there is another point that says that, or maybe God is unjust and God has favorites, meaning to say that God projects the world, projects all these Jiva Atmas, these entities, these conscious human entities, and then starts saying, oh, I like Elizabeth, I'm going to give her a good life and a good punya, a lot of good time and so on, because I like her, I find her cute. The God is going to play favorites, and it meaning to say the God has likes and dislikes. So we cannot say that God has likes and dislikes, because we would bring God to the level of the human jivas. Only human jivas have likes and dislikes. The other jiva, the other creatures, they don't have clear likes and dislikes. They just respond, but they don't have this complex phenomenon of desires and aversions, So human jivas have favorites, place favorites, and have likes and dislikes, but not God, okay? If you do not accept the idea of previous births, you may believe that the God theory, that God has its favorites. Okay, this is one theory alone. There are other theories. That the world is a chaos and things happen by accident. It's another idea being presented, and we have to compare all these notions that explains or tries to explain why things are the way they are, and we compare with the logic presented by the scriptures of Vedanta, okay, which is based on the several laws, not only physical, but also karmic ethic laws, which are beautifully structured in a way that no intelligent living creature can escape, okay? So we reap the karmas we give, we do nowadays, And it's not by chance, and it's not because God has blessed you, because God, we hear that a lot, only by the blessings of the Lord, we're going to get this and that. So God does not have sympathy from anyone. God is the system, okay? Like James say, is a system that facilitates, you to get what you want. But in order to get what you want, you have to play according to the rules and present your karmas in harmony with the rules and harmony with your goal. And then you sit down, relax, and wait, because sometimes these karmas take time to manifest, to fructify. So Ishvara is not playing favorites. If you do not accept the idea of previous births, and then you're in big trouble, because you may fall for the idea that God is unjust, God is unfair. This, however, would make God into the same level of Jiva, with preference, with desires and dislikes, likes, aversions, and so on, which is not the case, okay? Because we have an understanding that God is one thing and Jiva is another thing. God is limitless and it's all-knowing. Jiva is very limited and knows very little. And in fact, it knows almost nothing in respect to the world. And it may have the potential to self-knowledge, but its limitations in terms of objective knowledge is immense, and God knows everything. So God is limitless and Jiva is very limited. So it's not possible that we can bring God to the level of the Jiva and say that God is playing preference or playing with favorites, okay? And no, this is something that belongs to the Jivas, not to God. It is an impossibility. Because the world is perfectly ordered by God, and Jivas, they have no clue even how to process its digestion, Jivas do not know even how to fall asleep. Huh? So we know nothing. And the world is kept, sustained, and protected by this intelligent order called Ishvara, God. Jivas, they are not infallible, omniscient, and all-knowing like Ishvara. So we cannot bring Ishvara to the level of the limited and imperfect jiva, full of likes and dislikes. No? The number 3 is the universe is an accident, but we have already crossed the time here. We're gonna carry on from this topic. The universe is an accident, and we Vedantins, we know that it's not an accident. Things do not happen by accident, because this is an order. We call this an order, an apparent order. It's not the absolute order, but it's an order. And why we use this word order? Because it is ordained, it's ordered, it's intelligent designed, it's structured in a way in which everything is in order. You know, the laws are operating all the time, and the universe is not an accident, but a beautiful, intelligent designed order. Okay, we're gonna get into that next week. And I thank you, Elizabeth, for showing up today. And we meet again next week, Ishvara willing, of course. Claudio has left us already. Most probably he had something to do. Anything else from you guys? Again, nobody said anything today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. Namaste. See you this coming Thursday with Drisha Viveka. Ishwara willing, of course. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks, Alinda. Bye now.
Thank you.